A Trump cabinet official just got absolutely dismantled on live television. And the exchange you're about to witness exposes something far more dangerous than just one incompetent official. It reveals how an entire department is operating above the law while Congress watches. This is Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem facing Congressman Dan Goldman. And what unfolds is a masterclass in accountability.
Secretary Noem, let's talk about the law. Do you agree that asylum is a lawful pathway to immigrate to this country? Yes or no?
There's an asylum program, yes, in place.
All right. So immigrants then with ongoing asylum applications are legally in this country, correct?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Your question was?
Immigrants with ongoing asylum applications are legally in this country.
There are individuals in this country that have applications that...
And they are legally here because it's a lawful pathway, right?
It's a lawful pathway.
Okay, so if your department then deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law, correct?
Joe Biden left us with...
I'm not asking about Joe Biden. I'm asking you a specific question. If your department deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law. Is that correct?
It was greatly violated when they allowed...
I'm asking you.
People to come
I'm asking you.
granted asylum applications.
Why are you filibustering? Why can't you answer the question? It's a simple question.
Your president...
If your department deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law. Isn't that correct?
The asylum program was broken under the last...
Mr. Chairman, I will reclaim my time. She's not answering the question. But the obvious answer is that, yes, if you follow a lawful pathway, asylum is a lawful pathway, if you have an open asylum case, you are here lawfully. But the problem that we are seeing around the country is that you are not following the law. Don't tell us to change the law. If you don't like the asylum system, you change the asylum law. Bring it to us. We'll work with you. I think it needs to be changed. But you can't just decide that you're not going to follow the law, and asylum is a law, and deport people who have ongoing applications.
Let me break down what just happened here. Goldman constructed a logical trap with no escape route. Asylum is legal. People with pending asylum cases are here legally. Deporting them violates the law. Each step builds on the previous one. By the time Noem realizes where the questioning is headed, it's too late. And he's not speculating. This is actually happening. He ended up giving a specific example. One asylum applicant ripped away from his wife and small children after a court appearance. And then something happened to his wife that Noem's department would desperately try to cover up. Let's play the clip.
Come on, man. Come on.
Now, after this incident, your department issued a statement that said the officer's conduct in this video is unacceptable and beneath the men and women of ICE. Our ICE law enforcement are held to the highest professional standards, and this officer is being relieved of current duties as we conduct a full investigation. 3 days later, you reinstated that officer and you put him back on duty. I sent you a letter and asked you what investigation was done and why was he reinstated. You did not answer that letter. So I'm going to give you an opportunity right here to explain to me that if that officer's conduct was, quote, beneath the men and women of ICE, unquote, why did you reinstate him?
Goldman sent Noem a letter asking what investigation was conducted and why the officer was reinstated. She never responded. So he gives her an opportunity in this hearing to explain. Let's play the clip.
Sir, that investigation was completed. I can give you that investigation and the information that you would like. This is
I wrote you 2 months ago. Why haven't you given it to me yet?
I'm actually surprised that you haven't gotten it. I'm going to ask my staff about that.
Well, you shouldn't be surprised because generally speaking, you do not respond to us.
Thousands of your letters.
Now, the other problem that we are seeing all over the country is that your officers are wearing masks, are dressed in plain clothes, often going around without identification.
All of our officers are identified.
I'm not asking a question. I introduced the No Secret Police Act to stop this. And we now have 113 co-sponsors so that they will not be masked and that they will identify themselves. Now, you say all of them are identifying themselves. That is not the case because last month in New York City again, The NYPD officers were injured by your masked plainclothes ICE officers after they were called from 911 as residents witnessed your officers pulling individuals out of their vehicles and chasing them down the street. I also asked you what happened there. How were the NYPD officers injured by your officers? And you didn't respond. What's the answer?
Sir, our individual
Gentlemen's
officers
time is
are identified.
Let's pause here and understand the playbook. Step 1. Public incident generates outrage. Step 2. Issue statement promising accountability. Step 3. Quietly do the opposite. Step 4. When confronted, stonewall for months. Step 5. When finally forced to respond, act confused and promise to look into it. This is the Trump administration's standard operating procedure. Big public statement when caught. Quiet reversal when attention fades. Total silence when questioned. But Goldman isn't letting her off the hook. Stop and think about that for a moment. We need legislation called the No Secret Police Act to force federal agents to identify themselves. That's where we are as a country. Federal law enforcement operating with covered faces, unmarked clothing, and no badges, grabbing people off streets, and Congress has to pass a law to make them identify themselves like officers in a functioning democracy. Let's count what Goldman just exposed in 5 minutes. 1. ICE is deporting people with legal asylum applications, direct violation of federal law. 2. Noem personally reinstated an officer who assaulted a woman on camera just 3 days after promising an investigation. 3. She ignores congressional oversight letters for months, then acts surprised when confronted. 4. Her officers operate in masks and unmarked clothes without identification, to the point where they're injuring local police. 4 major scandals, 1 5-minute exchange. And here's the most infuriating part. Nothing will happen to her. She won't face consequences. The officer who assaulted that woman is still working. The agents who injured NYPD officers are still deployed. The illegal deportations continue. Because this is how power operates when there's no accountability. They break the law openly. They ignore oversight. They face 0 consequences because the party in control doesn't care. But here's why hearings like this still matter. Goldman is creating a record. He got Noem to essentially admit, through her evasions and non-answers, that her department is violating federal law. He documented the assault cover-up. He documented the masked agents. He documented the ignored oversight. When power eventually shifts, when accountability returns, this record will exist. These admissions will be on the permanent congressional record. This evidence will be available. And more critically, the American people need to see this. They need to see elected officials like Dan Goldman actually doing their jobs, asking hard questions, demanding answers, refusing to accept deflection. Because the alternative is normalizing this behavior. Accepting that federal agents can break laws, assault people on camera, operate like secret police, and face no consequences. The reason officials like Noem struggle against questioners like Goldman is simple. He doesn't play their game. He doesn't accept talking points.
You are violating the law. Isn't that correct?
The asylum program was broken under the last...
Mr. Chairman, I will reclaim my time. She's not answering the question. But the obvious answer is that yes.
He doesn't allow filibustering. He pins them down. He forces answers. And when they refuse, he makes it crystal clear to everyone watching exactly what they're hiding. That's what happened here. Noem tried every evasion tactic. Blame the previous administration. Change the subject. Run out the clock. Claim ignorance. Goldman shut down every single attempt and exposed her for exactly what she is. Someone overseeing a department that's breaking the law with 0 accountability. This is what congressional oversight is supposed to look like. Not theater, not sound bites, actual accountability. If you want to see more breakdowns of moments where officials are forced to answer for their actions, subscribe and drop a comment below. Do you think Noem should resign after this hearing? Let me know what you think.